very much like to introduce the mayor of Cupertino, uh, Dr. Liang Chao. With a PhD in computer science from Princeton University, Dr. Liang Chao has been developing software to accelerate hardware designs and currently works as a startup focused on innovative printed circuit board design tools. She was elected to the Cupertino Union School Board in 2016, then to the Cupertino City Council in 2018, and was reelected in 2022. In 2025, she of course is serving as the mayor. During her first term, Ms. Chao was proud of approving two multifamily mixed-use projects on Foothill Boulevard, as well as the Westport development featuring condominiums, affordable housing, and senior housing. She welcomes responsible developers who respect Cupertino's character and value community input. Believing that the city should not be divided over a oversized project, she aims to bring the community together by focusing on the common ground that drew everyone to Cupertino in the first place. Over to you, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
You
Hi,
can
thank
share
you,
your slide.
Deborah. Hi, everyone. Really, really honored to have this opportunity to talk to all of you. I think Cupertino cannot be successful without all the businesses, and we do have a common ground. We want Cupertino to be more vibrant and to be better for both the businesses and our residents. So I'm really looking forward to working with all of you to achieve our common goal. And so I will share my slide. And so first I'll talk a little about myself, where I come from, how I went from STEM to politics, and then from school to city council, and how I think my mindset has evolved from campaigning to now governing. So I came from Taiwan and came to the US to enroll in Princeton University for computer science. At the time, it's a new department. They took only 13 students, and I was one of the lucky 13. And the entire department at the time had only 53 students. Then after 4 years, I got my PhD degree and went to actually taught for 4 years at Iowa State University. And then met my husband at a conference in Atlanta. After 6 months, we decided to get married, and I moved to Germany because he was studying for his PhD in Germany. So I lived in around Munich, Erlangen area for 2 years, and then we both came to Silicon Valley because that's the only place we can both find jobs together, because he's in EE, in integrated circuit design. So then when we moved here, I had no idea which city would be best. My realtor at the time took us around Mountain View everywhere. And then in one day, I fell in love with my house in Cupertino and just settled in Cupertino without knowing. It has good schools, it has good, I didn't know anything. I just fell in love with that house. And then I learned later, oh, it's actually the heart of Apple, and we have so many sister cities, and we have such a great, diverse community. So at Princeton, I lived in a dorm that's kind of like from, I think, 200 years ago. And here is the kind of dining hall we had. So it's like out of the movie of the Harry Potter movie. And except the portraits don't move. And then my first, because I was interested in solving hard problems. Initially, I was very into math, and then I find out that there are a lot of tough problems in integrated circuit design. So I went into software, designing software for integrated circuit. And the company that I worked for create emulators that's almost the size of like one person tall. One emulator can emulate a tiny chip in your iPhone, because we were able to pack a lot of chips in. But then in order to verify they are correct, we have to use a lot of computing power to verify it's correct before it's manufactured. And so our customers were Google, Intel, almost all the big companies. And then I got into politics, took a break, but now I got back to working again. So for the last 2-3 years, I was working at a startup. It's 1 block away from San Jose downtown. It's called JETEX. It stands for Just in Time for Everything. We do software automation for printed circuit board. Printed circuit board is something that looks like that on the upper left. On the computer, lower right is how we design that in the circuit. So this is something I stare at sometimes all day, trying to figure out how do I pack more things in a small space. And that's PCB board. If you take away an iPhone or desktop or your laptop, that's something you used to see in a desktop when it's tall. Now it's all compact. Then I find out why I got into policy. I think I got into computer automation is because I like to solve problems, especially problems that I initially have no idea how to solve it. I think that's something similar in politics. It's a problem that has a lot of variables, and I have no idea how to solve it. And then you have to get ideas from everyone and then try to ask the right questions and see if we can find a compromise. Yeah, that's kind of like sometimes when we solve problem in computer science. And so I got into politics. And then how did I go from school volunteers to attending every council meeting? Initially, but one of my kids attended McAuliffe, which required 4 hours of volunteering time every week. Another one attended a Chinese immersion program, which also I volunteer a lot in schools. I was working full time while volunteering in 2 schools. But then one day someone said, oh, the city council is going to build 1,000 to 4,000 housing units. At the time, a lot of parents were concerned because that was in 2014. It's when it's the highest point here in this chart is 2014. That's when CUSD was the most crowded. We didn't know it's going to come down later. The projection, enrollment projection is still going to go up. And at the time, the city just approved the Apple Park. And the questions to the council member at the candidate forum was, where people are going to live? Then boom, Vocal Shopping Mall got turned into a humongous office park. So at the time, we couldn't comprehend where people are going to live. And the schools are already overpacked. Therefore, I started attending every council meeting. In every meeting, I present charts, trying to make sense out of how do we absorb that. But situation has changed. Now we have lower enrollment problem, and we need housing. So in the past 4 years since I was elected on the council, I'm actually very proud that we were able to approve projects that have responsible development, and we were able to negotiate with the developer to modify the project a little bit, but then serve community needs. For example, one of the project on the foothill, they were able to put in a cafe with a tiny retail with their townhome development. And another one that's a canyon crossing. And we approved the beta brother project, which is now Ellen Road. I think that's also another great development. And we approved the Westport, which has a lot of for sale condos and affordable housing and senior housing. So we were able to negotiate more retail space with the developer. So I thought it's a great balance. And then also throughout the pandemic, I think we kept on subsidizing the VIA shuttle, even when the ridership was low, because it was important for a lot of people at the time to be able to have transportation. And the VIA at the time take one passenger at the time. And throughout that, we supported that. It's fortunately, it got recognized by the state, and now we have state funding. But this is still a program that we are heavily subsidizing. So if we can, I think we probably need help from businesses to make it sustainable. And my passion has been always engage the community. So we worked with De Anza College to move the farmers market to De Anza College. And I continue to care about schools. And I'm proud that we championed the bird safe and dark sky ordinance in Cupertino. Because I also care about the nature environment and continue to ensure we have accountability and transparency in the government. So these were the priorities that was in my last campaign in 2022. And I would like to talk about the economic development. I think that's a big thing for Cupertino right now. And we haven't really been paying much attention. And I need all of your help for us to have to revitalize our economy. And at the same time, we want to keep public safety so that the businesses in Cupertino have a pleasant environment for your customers. We want to help you to be successful. So now I'm converting my mindset from campaigning to governing. And so looking forward, we are lucky that there are a few sites that will be developed along Stevens Creek, a few projects proposed. Unfortunately, I think 3 or 4 sites, they all want to develop townhomes right now. Pizza Hut site, the United Furniture site, and the site near Panera Bread. And it seems the market right now, the townhome is the better return on investment. However, that also means they are producing similar units as we already have. If we want to serve younger population, to have serve people with diverse income, we need to think about how we can serve those population. And at the same time, they are replacing the currently 100% retail site. And we are losing the revenue. So initially, we envisioned that to be walkable downtown from, and unfortunately now could be retail housing. Retail housing, then it's very hard to have a walkable commercial corridor. So what could we do? That's something I am trying to explore. And then as you know that as a result of a CTTFA audit, the state changed how they interpret sales tax allocation. And we are looking at a $10 to $20 million reduction in sales tax. And in the foreseeable future, we have $10 million structural deficit. So at the same time, I'm looking at how do I cut down the expenses, but also how do we generate more revenue. So I love to be a problem solver. So this is a problem that we can solve together. So as I usually do, I look around, do some research on what other people are doing. And this is a new area for me. I'm not expert on that. So this is just some ideas I found quickly. There might be better ideas out there. These are just examples of what people are doing. So in San Jose, for example, they have downtown office incentive where they are giving a 2-year free parking and the tax exemption to attract businesses to their downtown space where there are a lot of vacant space in downtown. I think that all applies not only to office but also retail. So that's something we can consider. If we have, for example, the Rite Aid space is now vacant, could we possibly provide some tax break for the first year until to attract a business until they build up their clientele? And another incentive they are considering is called high-rise fee waiver program. I think that's something we can also consider because even though we zoned a site for higher density, like 30, 40 units, but people come to us with a proposal building townhome that's 20 units per acre rather than, so it helps the density we are looking for. But it's more costly to build higher than 3 or 4 stories. We want to incentivize that. So they are doing this, that whoever gets, that's the first, San Jose is a big city, but for them, it's like first 2,000 units, you get a reduction in something. Second 2,000, so you, and it's building permits. So it's by building permits because that's the state when they count housing production from the city. They don't look at how many units we have approved. They look at how many units had building permit. So this kind of program would help us incentivize builders to actually get building permits so they can help us meet our RHNA numbers. And if you get there earlier, you get a reduction. So that I thought that's a good idea to consider. And also, should we bring in different industries? Some people are talking about how do we attract biotech and or maybe AI companies to the cities. So these are just a simple news search. I find that Burlingame is doing that. As actually Hayward, Los Altos, Los Gatos are all looking at how do you attract biotech, and I think also AI company. But how do you attract them? I think people are looking at a business ecosystem because businesses do not exist in a vacuum. You need to build ecosystem so they have other partners to work with and also a government support program. I don't have a very concrete idea on what that ecosystem would look like in Cupertino, but I hope that's something you guys can help figure out. So that said, these are some of the legislative ideas that I have been pitching to the legislators, the Dave Cortese, and then I talked to the Silicon Valley leadership group on what kind of legislative bills from the state would help Cupertino. For example, rather than just incentivizing units, we need to incentivize starter for sale homes so that young engineers don't become lifelong renter while they pay $3,000 rent every month. I think most of the residents in Cupertino, this is not their first home. Most of them bought a smaller town home or condo in Milpitas, South San Jose, or further away, and then they upgrade. This might be their third home. And we need that kind of smaller home in Cupertino. But right now, most people are building 3,000, 4,000 square foot homes in Cupertino. So we need some incentive for that. And we need to incentivize senior flats, 1 story, so that our seniors have a place to downsize to and these are for sale homes, so that they don't have to worry about paying high rent for the rest of their life too, and they can stay in the community. And that's, I don't see people propose that. So how do we incentivize that kind of development? And then I'm hoping that there should be a state bill that will look at restructuring sales tax, because right now, all the sales tax seems to go to one point. It used to come to sales office, that might be Cupertino, and now it goes to warehouse cities. But it should be a percentage distribution between sales office, warehouse, and consumers, so that even bedroom cities would be able to get sales tax from the purchases people are making from their home. That way, I think it's more fair, and also it gives cities more incentive to build housing. Because I think before, a lot of cities emphasize more about commercial development because they generate tax revenue. But if homes generate tax revenue, cities will be more willing to build homes. And I think we should incentivize live-work units. For example, the United Furniture site, which is across from Valco, rather than developing into townhome, what if each of them is a live-work unit, where downstairs it could be a dental office, it could be a real estate office, an attorney's office, I think a hairdresser's office. So it could be a small business office. Then this would be, I think, actually similar to a traditional organic downtown, where people have a small business, they live upstairs. And if we can incentivize that, then I think when people convert the current retail shopping mall into housing, we actually would have housing that still generate tax revenue. So that's another idea. And I think also we need transit in Cupertino. But the problem with VTA right now is I feel they don't know how transit works. I lived in Germany and I came from Taipei, so I know how viable transit network work. In Taipei and in Germany, every stop, you have a lot of shops. And a lot of times I jump off a stop just to shop and then I get back on. But here, in most of the transit stop, you see it's a desert. There's no place to even get a cup of coffee. So rather than put housing near transit stop, we need to have a critical mass of commercial area at transit stop. And the housing should be located 2 or more blocks away, because that's how it works in where I lived in Taipei in Germany. I would walk 2 blocks to the transit stop. On my way walk there, I shop. And on my way back home, I shop. And then when at the transit stop, when I have to wait for the transit I can look, okay, 20 minutes later it's coming, I shop. And then I go take the transit. So that's how we should formulate viable transit network here. And I think we need to look at office housing balance, but rather than thinking about how do we put housing near office, we should be thinking about how do we put office near housing, so that it's balanced in every city, not just in areas where there is already a lot of office. And I think we should look at private-public partnership for bus, because in Taipei, we used to have just public bus system. They are old and not very good, but then people started to offer private bus. They are newer, and at that time with air conditioning, the public ones didn't have. So eventually those private bus and public bus system integrated, so you can take either one. They might have different charge. It might be a little more expensive for the private ones because if they have nicer cars or more amenities. So I think we should encourage that kind of private bus system and discourage private company shuttles, so that when the company runs shuttles, they should also take other riders, not just their own company employee. Then together we have a better network of transit system. And for Cupertino, I think there is a lot of things we can do to revitalize our economy and also advocate for good bills at the state level. So I have proposed to reenact the Economic Development Committee and Legislative Review Committee. That I think these are very important committees to have for us to build a better future for Cupertino. And we need all of you to help the council with your expertise and your connections in the business to make this dream work. So I would like to then hear your ideas. So I'll stop
Thank you.
share.
Thank you, Mayor Chao. That was great. I didn't know about your personal background either. Very interesting. So now I would like to open up any comments or questions for Mayor Chao, either on a subject matter she covered, or you can ask her any question she's willing to answer.
I'm ready to go.
Okay.
First and foremost, it was enlightening to hear that you were in Germany, because as you all know, I was born in Belgium, raised in Brussels, Italy, worked in Paris, London, you name it. So I know very well Europe, and I'm looking forward to get an economic development here. As the only representative of hotels and tourism here in Cupertino, I'm the one who is always putting Cupertino on the map on the tourism side. The problem that we're seeing, because right now the economic downturn is so hard that hotels and restaurants are hard hit. And I'm sure, Mayor Chao, you can see that the sales tax revenues have lowered drastically. Yet we're in Silicon Valley. So I understand that we're not San Francisco, LA, New York, Miami, all of that. All those cities have a budget in order to represent their own cities on the tourism side worldwide. The funny side of it, and I say ironically, is that we're in Silicon Valley. We are the center of the world where everyone knows Apple, Google, Visitor Center, both of them have it. We're not far away. We have the best wineries, so people don't need to go to Napa and drive 3 hours. We're so close to San Francisco. So I'm selling Cupertino all the time. I'm leaving in Australia tomorrow and New Zealand to represent and sell and get all the tourism here. So it would be nice, and I'm very thrilled to hear about the economic developments, and hopefully we do have something mostly driven to the tourism industry, because I feel alone. I've been trying to push this for over a decade, and yet I am the only person that drives the bookings for restaurants and groups left and right beside the corporate, but corporate is out. So once we do close the gap on that, you will see a lot of revenue as well coming up here. So we need to do something to attract people from all around the world. We're Silicon Valley, for crying out loud. We're known worldwide. And around the world, everyone has stores, even at San Francisco airport, in Brazil, everybody, that's a Silicon Valley. It's known worldwide, but yet I don't believe we are capitalizing in it. And second of all, I'd like to tell you about the transit. You lived in Munich, so you know how wonderful indeed, like you mentioned in your presentation, how the bus side, everything is, it's all made to help the people. Here, I have to say, I'm American, but also I was born in Europe. We're here in the America, we're prioritizing greed and money over the people. In Europe, we do the people first, and that's why it's all well deserved as far as buses, metro, you name it, connection train. We don't have that all here, but it's indeed time that we are putting together maybe the private sector to help out, because it will help us with the transit, all the cars and the population, all of that to move left and right. And I am excited to hear that the economic development is coming back, because we truly need that. And I look forward to help if you need any assistance. Thank you for putting the economic development back on the map. Thanks.
Thank you. Please continue to share ideas, write emails to the City Council.
Will do.
Thank you, Claudio. Next, John, you have your hand raised.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Mayor Chao. Thank you for a very informative presentation. You've laid out, I think, a very ambitious agenda, and we certainly appreciate that. If you can kind of narrow it down to 3 top issues that you want to accomplish in your year as mayor, what would they be?
Liang, you want to open your mic?
Okay, yeah. So I think those are not things I could dream to accomplish. Those are dreams. And those dreams need many people to work together to even realize. A lot of them will rely on state legislators. And so I hope this year we reenact the Economic Development Committee and we can come up with some ideas for incentive programs to help our retail business and to help incentivize more housing permits to be issued. That would be great, but I'm not sure if that it could happen this year, but then I hope to put things in motion. So maybe next year we will have some good program. And then for legislative also, I think with the amount of online sales, the state really needs to restructure the sales tax. But that's not something we can accomplish in Cupertino. And so Cupertino this year, I think we still need to focus on how do we control our budget so that we don't spend that much. But one other big priority for me this year is to finally move forward with the City Hall renovation. This is a project that the council has been discussing, I think, since 2013 or earlier, a long time, I think more than 10 years. And then the council had big ambition in 2015. And they find out, oh, they can only afford a city hall that's about $40 million. And then as the staff to find a way to cut it down to $40 million, the staff came back and say they couldn't. It was dropped. And then we tried to see, okay, if we can just do renovation, which would be about, I think, $26 million. But we might need extra space. So I think we purchased the City Hall Annex, which is at the corner of Torrey and Pacifica. But then with things changed in 2022. So then again, there is this big ambition for a brand new City Hall. I think we have been going back and forth. I think there is earthquake retrofit issue. And I think we do need to live within our budget, unless we want to issue hundreds of millions of dollars of bonds to our residents. I think Cupertino resident usually doesn't like that. City has been living within our means. That seems to be how Cupertino operate in the past. So I hope this year we'll get the consensus to move forward with the renovation of both the City Hall and the Annex. And with the City Hall Annex, the vision in 2022 was to put the permit center there, and there will be some small offices. My dream is actually also to allow those spaces to be shared with small business to have meetings. So then we will also put the EOC center there, because that way it's cheaper to put it in that smaller building than retrofit the entire City Hall. So that's the idea. I hope that we will have some kind of small business center together with the permit center in the City Hall Annex. That's another thing I hope we can get some resolution this year. And a third thing, I think the third thing is a mayor's initiative that I will propose at the State of the City address. Is something we are, this year is the 70th anniversary of Cupertino. And I hope to use the Cupertino Stories project to bring everyone together to so that everyone can share our story, how we came to Cupertino, why we love Cupertino, what we did in Cupertino, and the history of all the amazing organization and all the amazing volunteers in Cupertino. And hope then that would also help Historic Society to get more membership, and that can really bring all the organizations and the people together for a common project. And then we celebrate our 70th anniversary. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Donna, you have your hand raised. Uh-oh. We might have lost Donna. I don't see.
I was muted. I appreciated your mixed use when you talked about housing. I grew up in the Santa Clara Valley. My father had a little grocery store, and upstairs was two different apartments, and we grew up there. We lived there. So the housing, having a mixed use, was a really natural thing and a good thing that might be included when we're thinking about housing. Historically, I appreciate your about the people stories and the fact that we've been in existence for 70 years, and that it was the Chamber of Commerce the year before, 1954, that was incorporated and said our first duty is to get this Cupertino as to be a city. And in 1955, they accomplished that by getting the county to allow them to vote. And it was a tight vote because Monte Vista wanted to be their own town, and we wanted to be all together. And so they voted, and it won, and that's why we're here today. So history is really important, and why a lot of people came here was because it was the most innovative valley, fertile and fruitful. And now moving on, and anyway, I think we should brag about our city too, like Claudio says, so that people will want to come here, and they'll want to establish businesses and be able to have apartments above. Would be really, mixed use would be really good, and it would solve part of our housing. Thank you, Liang, for your ideas.
Thanks, Donna.
Yeah, because I thought downtown shouldn't be a downtown where everyone rent and pay rent to one property owner. That's not how downtown usually works, right? Downtown usually you'll have everyone own their own little store, and they all have their family, and then that's the kind of downtown. It's because all the store owners are part of the community. They are not. They all live right there. So maybe we can create that, not in one place, but maybe in multiple locations along Stevens Creek. Yeah.
Okay, I have another hand raised. Thank you so much, Donna, for your comments and questions. Liang from Cal Color.
I saw Sean raise his hand, but somehow he lowered. It's okay. I will just talk. There are a few things I would like to say, right? First of all, about supporting the local restaurant, local hotels. As a business here, we actually try our best to support a local restaurant. We do a lot of like team buildings, and we eat out regularly, and also for the shopping, right, for the tax revenue. I think Mayor Chao doesn't made a very good point for the online shopping, because for us, we purchase a lot of our supplies from Costco and Amazon. I mean, if we have a local Costco, I think Cupertino would have captured all the tax revenues. But right now our orders are through the Costco online and Amazon online. Even though we made a lot of purchase, the city does not really benefit from those tax revenues, right? I think
That's not fair, right?
that's not fair. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, and then for the housing, I really appreciate the city is thinking about more entry-level housing and affordable housing. For us, like a traditional business, we are also an essential part of the community of the city, right? Beyond the tech workers and also engineers, there are a lot of slightly lower income people in the community. Like us, we are a private sector. We hire a lot of teachers. And then I know that the city recently passed a legislation that the public school staff and the teachers would have some of the housing they can apply. But the private sectors, even though, like say, private school teachers or the art school, music school teachers like us, they would not benefit from it, right? So I'm hoping that maybe we can have more programs or more affordable housing that can benefit a larger group of people like us.
Thank you, Li Gong. I'm proud to say that Cal Color is one of our newer members along with Alpha X Development, and we really appreciate their membership at the Chamber. They've been great partners thus far, and you will see some of their work at Lunar New Year next week.
Thank you. Oh,
Is
one
there
more thing. I think for the Cupertino 70 year, we would like to contribute. Maybe have a like art event or art show, art competition. We can have our students draw about Cupertino. I think that would be-
Maybe your students can help capture some art history in Cupertino. I think we have a lot of public art that I don't even know where they are. I see that Sunnyvale has a walking map for their public art. And I really feel we don't have a lot of public art in Cupertino. Even the little we have, we don't know where they are. So, and each of them probably have a history. So if we can capture those in the Cupertino Histories project, that could be integrated, and that would be great.
Yeah, all right, great idea.
Yeah, thank you. I have another raised hand, Sean. Go ahead, Sean.
Yes, thank you, Deborah. Thanks, Deb. Mayor, thank you so much for your speech today and sharing all that information with us. I do agree with John. It's an ambitious program that you have, a good vision, and we definitely are looking forward to a broader and a more vibrant Cupertino. I think a lot of what you're saying aligns with the Chamber of Commerce vision, and we also have the strength that can align and help you in many ways. And I hope that the forum today in this Legislative Action Committee forum, with the opportunity to share your visions, your dreams, your goals, that you can recognize and align with us and help let us be a part of your journey. The chamber was started 71 years ago, as Donna had mentioned, and so it's been our strength, our goal to keep this community stronger, to build small business administration, to create that diversity and economic strength, the vitality. And we've been doing it for 71 years. We have members from Cal Color, as you heard from, to Apple, and it spreads the entire spectrum of small to large. So I really think that we hope that you'll spend some time with our new administration, our recent administration. I'm not as much involved as I used to be, but I know that they are outstanding and have great initiatives to plan, and I hope we can align together. And so, what are your thoughts? Do you think that we could be a part of that?
That's exactly why I'm here, right? I think I structured this talk in a way that's totally different from the state of the city. And this is a help me talk. I'm an engineer. I don't know how to run a business. You guys are the expert. And I have this vision. I don't know how to implement them. So I need all of you to help pitch in and help us with from this public policy that would actually help the current business and maybe develop a new business and attract more of them to Cupertino. So I need all of your help. The city, not me, the city needs all of your help to make even a small portion of this dream come true.
That's great. That's wonderful to hear. Thank you for that. I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you so much. I don't see anybody else with a raised hand. Are there any? Oh, I have one. Okay. Ruby.
Hi, thank you, Deborah. Yeah, this is Ruby. So I'm the development manager with Alpha X. So we are a small women-found, women-led developer / builder, and we focus on building these middle housing infill projects, meaning anything probably around or below 20 units. So we recently moved to Cupertino. So I'm in my 30s, and for the past 11 years, I've been a resident of anywhere from San Francisco, Peninsula, Silicon Valley. So I feel like I have experiences living everywhere in the Bay Area. And Cupertino, I think, is very famous for the well-designed, well-built community commercial centers, meaning there are a lot of high-quality restaurants and sometimes attractive to young people, like boba places, So Cupertino is really cool in terms of these very new type of commercials. And also, I feel like Cupertino, when people talk about Cupertino, Apple comes first. So that may be a good thing and also a bad thing, meaning the city probably relies too much on one company. So I would feel like smaller businesses, smaller commercial business, and also maybe various type of business should be encouraged to make sure that the city has diversity in terms of the nature of the businesses. So also, as a developer, I think Cupertino has the best GIS system, meaning every time you you go to that website, you see very clearly what the zoning is, the general plan, and also the property information. This is absolutely the best in the Bay Area. So for us, I want to provide some general thoughts from a small developer, because Mayor Chao mentioned townhomes have been very popular. I think probably the reason is the very high land cost, construction cost, financing costs, even city impact fees that's associated to multifamily projects. So condos are relatively much more expensive and harder to build. So that's why probably naturally developers pivot to townhome projects or townhome type of deals. This way that at least there is a profit margin, probably very minimum, but still there is a profit margin. But I think what we can do down the road is, I don't think there's a conflict between building townhomes and entry-level residential units, because we have projects in other cities that it's every townhome it's less than 1,500 square feet. They're targeted young families with small children, people that's not making the top dollar, top money in the Bay Area. So I think that could be potentially something that would work for Cupertino. I think the goal is to bring in a lot more young young families to activate the communities and also boost the commercial. And I think maybe we can, during our future forum, we can try to put together some data, some numbers to show, for small developers, so what we do and what we are spending, and maybe we can be better understood by the mayor and maybe also like Mr. Degu and all this public sector. Yeah.
Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you.
Go
I'd
ahead.
like to talk a little bit about the impact fees. So I think many people, it's true that development needs to pay park impact fee, development fee. By law, the city cannot arbitrarily charge a fee. The city has to do a nexus study to show that the development that's being built will actually have the impact on the city infrastructure, and then have them estimate how much it will cost the city to enhance our city's our infrastructure in order to support that development. So and normally for development, we are charging maybe 20% of the actual impact. So we are already charging much less than the cost it will eventually cost the city to enhance our infrastructure. So any fee waiver, I think I proposed ideas, so I'm willing to consider potential tax break or fee waiver, but keep in mind, any fee waiver does mean the city is subsidizing a for-profit development, and the cost eventually will still be bared by the city. And so we are willing to consider that when there is visible advantage to the city.
Yeah,
So,
thank you, Mayor Chao. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the impact fee is necessary. So I think instead of waiving the impact fee, maybe we can think about delay the payment of it, because
that would be a good idea too.
Yeah, usually it's due either upon the issue of building permit or the approval of final map. So let's say if we could potentially delay it to maybe the occupancy, that's when most of the developers would close on the units, and then there would be like a large amount of fund routed to their bank account, and then they may be able to actually pay the fees much better. So this way we can actually save some of the financing cost, and that makes the project much more profitable. Yeah, this is probably one thing we can.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it will be great if you can. I think you guys probably do project in multiple cities. If you can say, here is a simple policy from Mountain View, they are doing that, then it's easier for us to sell it in Cupertino, right? Okay, they're already doing it. That's working, and we don't need to take that much time to figure out the logistics. We can kind of adjust it. So if you have that information, you are welcome to share with us good programs, good incentives from other cities that help you to be successful.
Yeah, understood. We will absolutely keep that in mind. Yeah, we'll be able to share with you probably in the future forums. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're at about 1:35, and I'm wondering if we have any more questions or comments for Mayor Chao. I do want to make sure that we're respectful of everybody's time.
I'll just say a final word on my end. Mayor Chao, good luck on your State of the City. I will be presenting to 1,600 Australian agents, so I will not be in town, but I look forward for the recording, and good luck, and we're all with you as residents. We're behind you. So thank you for everything.
Good. If there's nobody else, what I'd like to do is take just 2 seconds to mention a few upcoming events that are important to the community. One is the Lunar New Year Lunch, which is next Thursday on February 13th. We have some invites going out for you to get your tickets. And of course, there'll be the tradition lion dance. It'll be a nice time, as per usual. And we also have the Director General from the the Director General from the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office, who will open the program for us. His name is Mr. Ming Chi Scott Lai from the San Francisco office. So we're excited about that. Year of the Snake. Also coming up, which is important for parents but vendors right now, is our March 1st education fair. As the mayor mentioned, education is very important to the Cupertino community. And so we have openings for vendors to come and talk about their programs, summer camps, and all of that. We're encouraging people. We'll be coming out with an announcement for parent participation here pretty soon. That's on March 1st. And of course, we have our Holy Festival of Colors coming up in April. I believe that's Sunday, April 13th. So those are the three big things coming up in addition to our normal things that we do for our business community, which is we have a business mixer in concert with the Campbell Chamber of Commerce here in Cupertino, over here at Lazy Dog at the end of the month. You'll see an announcement coming out for that. Everybody's welcome to make connections. And then we have our next SBDC workshop on HR rules in 2025 and also how to recruit talent. And that'll be February 20th. And we certainly hope all of our business owners who are online sign up for that. Those are some offerings from the chamber. They'll be on our website if they are not already. And certainly members will get the advertisements directly. But thank you for everybody's support. I think we had a nice talk from Dr. Chao and also very informative. And of course, the business community is ready to engage. So we're happy to support. And we will see everybody hopefully at the Lunar New Year next Thursday. If you have no closing comments, Mayor Chao, close.
Thank you very much. I look forward to all the ideas from you, and please be proactive, share good practice, best practice, and good policies from other cities, and then join the Economic Development Committee, and maybe together we can come up with some great policies.